Welcome to the Stoic Golden Tribe, where enduring wisdom meets the strength of presence, and where we uncover the truths modern society refuses to teach men. There are wounds you walk away from, and then there are wounds that never truly close. Some betrayals leave bruises, others leave battle scars that become part of your soul. In a world that constantly preaches forgiveness without accountability, this video dares to speak the unspoken. Because there are some betrayals in relationships that no man should ever forgive, not out of hatred, not out of bitterness, but out of love for yourself, your future, and your peace of mind. When a man learns what to walk away from and never look back, he begins to reclaim his power. This is not about holding grudges. This is about protecting your identity, your values, and your legacy. So today, we dive deep into the 3 betrayals in relationships you must never forgive, and why recognizing them is the beginning of a stronger, wiser, and more grounded version of yourself. We'll explore the emotional, psychological, and spiritual weight of betrayal. We'll reference history's greatest downfalls and comebacks. We'll break down powerful relationship truths modern men are never taught. And we'll give you the mental weapons to rise after the storm, because you're not just here to be liked, you're here to lead. Like this video, share it with a brother who needs to hear this, and subscribe if you're ready to rebuild from the inside out. And don't forget to drop a comment below. Your growth starts with your voice. Now let's begin. Chapter 1. The unseen betrayal. When love turns into emotional sabotage. There is a type of betrayal that doesn't leave a scar you can show. No broken dishes, no screaming matches, no obvious infidelity. But it cuts deeper than a blade because it happens silently behind closed doors and under the illusion of love. Emotional sabotage is one of the most dangerous forms of betrayal a man can experience. And yet it's often the least talked about. Why? Because society has conditioned men to tolerate emotional chaos in the name of love, to sacrifice their identity in order to make it work, to ignore their instincts to avoid being called toxic or too masculine. But here's the truth. When someone uses your vulnerability against you, when they weaponize your emotions, your past, or your dreams, they are not loving you, they are manipulating you. Let's be clear. Love without emotional safety is not love, it's control. Let's travel back to one of the oldest cautionary tales of emotional betrayal, the story of Samson and Delilah. Samson, a man of unmatched strength, was chosen by God, destined for greatness. But in his desire to be close to someone emotionally, he chose Delilah, a woman who didn't love him but studied him. She asked him over and over again, "What makes you so strong?" And like many men today, Samson gave her piece after piece of his truth until he finally gave her everything, his secret, his core, his power. And what did she do? She sold that truth to his enemies. She didn't need a sword. She didn't need violence. All she needed was access and his trust. That's emotional betrayal in its purest form. Someone pretending to care while plotting your downfall. Today, emotional sabotage shows up like this. They constantly criticize you, then call it helping you grow. They bring up your deepest insecurities during arguments. They mock your dreams, then say, "I'm just being realistic." They gaslight you, making you question your sanity for feeling hurt. They compare you to other men, undermining your worth. And the worst part? They do it all while smiling, while telling you, "I love you." But love doesn't tear down your sense of self. Love doesn't play mind games. Love doesn't feel like walking on eggshells. Most men were never taught to name emotional abuse. You were told to tough it out, to be a man and just handle it. But let's redefine what strength looks like. Strength is not silent suffering. Strength is emotional clarity. Emotional intelligence doesn't mean becoming soft. It means becoming aware. You must recognize when someone is slowly draining you. You must protect your inner space the same way you'd protect your home. You wouldn't let someone walk in and smash your windows. So why let someone come into your heart and destroy your peace? When you allow emotional betrayal to continue, you lose more than sleep. You lose self-trust, because your gut knew but you ignored it. Purpose, because your energy is drained on survival, not creation. Masculine presence, because you become reactive instead of grounded. Freedom, because emotional manipulation becomes mental prison. And the longer you stay, the harder it is to remember who you were before it all began. What you must do: 1. Acknowledge what's happening. Don't minimize it. Don't excuse it. If something feels off, it usually is. 2. Document the patterns. Write them down. Emotional manipulators thrive on confusion. Clarity is your sword. 3. Set emotional boundaries. You teach people how to treat you by what you tolerate. 4. Have the courage to leave. No, it won't be easy, but the longer you stay in emotional chaos, the less space you have for peace and growth. 5. Reconnect with your tribe. Talk to grounded men. Join brotherhoods. Isolation is the breeding ground of manipulation. The Stoics taught that external events are not within our control, but our response is. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." You may not control how someone treats you, but you control whether you allow it to continue. That power is yours. That choice is yours. And that boundary, with that sacred wall between who you are and what you won't accept, must be built with discipline and self-respect. Emotional betrayal is invisible, but it is not imaginary. It is real, it is painful, and it is something no man should endure in silence. Recognize it, call it out, walk away from it, because the moment you stop tolerating what wounds you is the moment you start healing into the man you were always meant to be. Comment below, I protect my peace at all costs. Chapter 2. The ultimate disloyalty, betrayal in love and intimacy. Some betrayals happen in an instant, a lie, a touch, a moment of weakness that rewrites the entire story of a relationship. But betrayal in love and intimacy is rarely just about the act. It's about the sacred bond that gets broken, the unspoken trust that dies in silence, the part of your soul you gave to someone who proved they didn't value it. This is the betrayal that shifts a man forever, not because he wasn't strong, but because he trusted. And that's what makes this betrayal the most devastating of all. Let's go back to ancient Rome, to one of the most famous betrayals in history. Julius Caesar, a leader of unmatched power, vision, and command, was betrayed not by his enemies, but by his closest friend, Brutus. The man who dined with him, fought beside him, claimed to love him like a brother. When Caesar was ambushed in the Senate, he fought until he saw Brutus raise the knife. In that moment, Caesar didn't just lose his life, he lost his faith in love and loyalty. "Et tu, Brute?" he whispered. "You too, Brutus?" The tragedy wasn't just in the stab wounds, it was in the knowledge that the person closest to him chose ego over loyalty. Now apply that to the modern man. When the woman you love chooses someone else, when she lies, cheats, or emotionally abandons you, it feels like the Brutus wound all over again. Here's the truth they don't tell men. When a man commits, he commits with everything. His time, his energy, his body, his ambition, his dreams. And when that trust is violated through cheating, lying, or secret disloyalties, he doesn't just feel heartbreak, he feels disrespected, disarmed, and disoriented. This kind of betrayal attacks the core of a man's identity. Was I not enough? Why didn't I see the signs? What does this say about me? But let me tell you this, her betrayal speaks more about her values than your worth. Do not internalize her chaos. Do not wear her disloyalty like your own failure. Infidelity isn't always physical. Today's betrayals come dressed in emotional affairs, secret apps, and hidden messages. You might experience emotional bonding with another man behind your back, secrets about finances or past relationships, sudden coldness in intimacy replaced with validation, seeking online or flirting under the guise of "it's harmless," secretly planning a future that no longer includes you. All of it adds up to one truth: when loyalty disappears, love becomes a lie. Betrayal in love can make men emotionally reckless. Some become cold, some become players, some turn to self-destruction, some isolate in silence, wearing a mask of strength while crumbling inside. But the real pain? It's in losing the ability to trust yourself. You second-guess your judgment, you question your instincts, you become afraid to open up again. Because what if it happens again? That fear becomes your prison. The Stoics knew that attachment to what we can't control leads to suffering. Epictetus once said, "We are disturbed not by things, but by the views which we take of them." She cheated, she lied, she left, but the story isn't over, unless you decide it ends there. You can rise, you can reframe the pain into purpose, you can rebuild a foundation so strong that betrayal becomes your origin story, not your downfall. Steps to rise. After intimate betrayal 1. Do not seek closure from the betrayer. She cannot give you what she never had, emotional maturity. 2. Reclaim your energy. Cut off access. Silence the noise. Get back into your body. Train. Meditate. Focus. 3. Speak it aloud. Find trusted men. Share your pain. Shame dies in the light. 4. Learn from it without letting it define you. Ask, what patterns did I ignore? What signs were present? 5. Redefine your standards. Stop chasing validation. Seek character. Seek depth. Seek peace. The man who rises from intimate betrayal is not the same man who was broken by it. He's sharper, wiser, more discerning. He's no longer led by lust, but by vision. He no longer fears solitude, because he's found peace within. And when he does love again, he does it from strength, not desperation. He no longer begs to be chosen, he chooses, because he knows what his presence is worth. Let this chapter be a warning and a weapon. Never tolerate betrayal disguised as passion. Never romanticize chaos. Never allow someone to make you feel guilty for expecting loyalty. You are not hard to love. You are just with someone who didn't know how to love with honor. The greatest revenge is not anger. It's becoming so whole within yourself that no betrayal can shatter you again. Comment below. I don't chase, I choose. Chapter 3. The Silent Assassin. Public disrespect and reputation. Betrayal. Some betrayals scream, others whisper in the dark. But the most poisonous ones? They happen in plain sight, while the world watches. Public disrespect is the betrayal most men never see coming, because it doesn't always begin with malice. It often begins with a slow erosion of respect. A sarcastic remark here, a passive-aggressive insult there, a joke made at your expense in front of friends, family, or strangers. At first, you brush it off. You tell yourself, she's just joking. But eventually you realize, hey, the world is being invited to laugh at your expense. And when a woman disrespects you publicly, not only is your heart wounded, your reputation takes a hit. Let's rewind to 16th century England. King Henry VIII, one of the most powerful monarchs in history, married Anne Boleyn after a scandalous pursuit. But over time, their relationship turned sour. Anne, once adored, began mocking Henry behind closed doors. And worse, rumors began to swirl that she was unfaithful, possibly with men of the court. Now, whether the accusations were true or not doesn't even matter. What mattered was that the public began to view the king as a fool, the most powerful man in the kingdom, being laughed at. And in a world ruled by image, respect, and dominance, this betrayal wasn't just personal, it was political. It was a threat to his entire legacy. Henry would later have Anne executed, not just because he felt betrayed, but because public humiliation is often harder for a man to recover from than heartbreak. Now, while we don't live in kingdoms, every man is still the ruler of his own life. And when someone mocks you publicly, when they damage your name, when they twist the narrative, you have a duty to defend your throne. Today, public betrayal takes many forms. She talks down to you in front of your friends. She corrects or embarrasses you in front of your children. She exposes your private business to the internet. She posts cryptic social media messages to stir drama. She gossips about you to your family, your co-workers, or your community. She laughs when others mock you instead of defending you. These acts may seem small in isolation, but together they assassinate your character. And it's not just about what she does, it's about what the world begins to believe about you because of it. Reputation is the currency of masculine presence. It's what earns you respect in the eyes of your peers, your children, your tribe. So when someone you love joins the world in mocking you, they've chosen sides and they did not choose you. You see, disrespect tolerated becomes disrespect normalized. And once your reputation is damaged, you start losing control over how people speak to you, how others view your leadership, how your children internalize strength and honor, how you view yourself. Because betrayal isn't just about what she says, it's about the identity she tries to strip from you. Men often suffer this betrayal in silence because they fear being labeled controlling or insecure. They hope it's just temporary. They're scared to confront disrespect in public. They confuse humiliation with humility, but there is no virtue in allowing someone to tear down your name. Respect is not demanded, it is enforced, and if you do not hold the line, you teach the world how to cross it. The Stoics were not emotionless, they believed in emotional discipline, not emotional passivity. Seneca said it is a rough road that leads to the heights of greatness, and one of the roughest roads a man can walk is protecting his name while under attack. When someone betrays your reputation, 1. Do not retaliate with emotion. Respond with calm, grounded action. Be deliberate, not reactive. 2. Speak only facts. Disrespect thrives in confusion. Clarity and directness kill gossip. 3. Have the confrontation privately, but if the disrespect happens publicly, correct it immediately, with strength and composure. 4. Walk away if the pattern continues. You cannot build a future with someone who benefits from your downfall. Once your name has been wounded, rebuild with discipline. Let your actions speak louder than her rumors. Excellence. Outgrow the version of you they tried to shame. Silence. Don't feed drama. Let your silence expose their immaturity. Brotherhood. Lean on men who honor loyalty. Your tribe reflects your standard. Legacy. Create something so valuable that no one can define you by one relationship. You are not who she says you are who you choose to become after the fire. Never tolerate public disrespect. Never stay in a relationship that poisons your name. Never allow someone close to you to invite the world to laugh at your pain, because your name, your character, is your kingdom, and a true man guards it like gold. Comment below. My name is my legacy, I defend it with honor. Chapter 4. Rise after the fall, rebuilding power and purpose after betrayal. Betrayal is not the end of your story, it's the beginning of your awakening. What hurts you has the power to harden you, but it also has the power to sharpen you. A man who's never been betrayed can be naive, but a man who's been broken and rebuilt, he becomes unshakable. This chapter is not about her, not about what they did, not about the pain. It's about what comes after, because every betrayal comes with 2 options. 1, collapse into bitterness and blame. 2, or rise into power and purpose. Let's look at one of the greatest examples of rising after betrayal, Nelson Mandela. For 27 years he was imprisoned, betrayed by his country, his government, and even some of his own people. Locked away, silenced, forgotten. But when he was released, he did not return to the world seeking vengeance. He returned with vision. He didn't crumble, he conquered. He didn't retaliate, he rebuilt a nation. Mandela's strength didn't come from avoiding pain, it came from walking through it with discipline, dignity, and direction. And that's exactly what every man must do after betrayal. The process of reclaiming yourself. The first step to rebuilding after betrayal is not external, it is internal. You must reclaim your identity, because in betrayal you lose more than love. You lose your sense of self, your vision, your stability, your confidence in your own judgment. So you must begin with the foundation. Step 1. Cut off the poison. Healing cannot begin in the same environment where the wound was created. That means no checking her social media, no reaching out for closure, no holding on to pictures, memories, or texts, no rehashing what-ifs. This is not punishment, it's self-preservation. You are not rejecting her, you are choosing you. But step 2, return to discipline. A man without structure is a man who drowns in emotion. Discipline is how you rise. Wake up early, train your body, clean your space, set new goals, make promises to yourself, and keep them. Discipline reminds your mind, I am in control. You don't rise by waiting to feel better. You rise by acting in alignment with the man you're becoming, not the man she broke. Step 3. Redefine what you want. Betrayal has a way of exposing not just others, but also yourself. Ask, what did I tolerate out of fear? Where did I ignore the signs? What kind of partner do I truly need, not want? What do I need to build to feel proud of my life? Use betrayal as a mirror, not to blame yourself, but to upgrade your awareness. Now you know what fake love looks like. Now you know what disrespect sounds like. Now you know what peace feels like in its absence. And that knowledge, it's fuel. Step 4. Rebuild with brotherhood. Healing alone may be necessary, but rising requires community. Find strong, grounded men who hold you accountable, not to stay stuck in the pain, but to remind you of your power. Iron sharpens iron. You are not meant to heal in silence, but to grow through truth. Talk, train, building, create. That is the masculine way of healing. Step 5. Turn pain into purpose. The most powerful men in history turned their suffering into service. Marcus Aurelius lost children and used that pain to write the meditations that still guide men today. Viktor Frankl survived the Holocaust and turned trauma into philosophy. Malcolm X went from prison to world shaker, and now it's your turn. Start the business, write the book, lead the younger men, build the legacy. Don't just move on, elevate. Let betrayal be the brick that builds your new empire. The Stoics never ran from pain, they transmuted it. Epictetus was born into slavery. He was beaten, humiliated, and forgotten. But he became one of the wisest men to ever walk the earth. He wrote, "Difficulties show what men are. Pain reveals the truth, but discipline builds the future. You may have been betrayed, but now you are awake. And from this moment forward, nothing is wasted. Not the hurt, not the silence, not the scars. Everything becomes fuel. You are not the man who was betrayed. You are the man who learned from it, who rose through it, who became untouchable because of it. You are now sharper in your boundaries, calmer in your presence, clearer in your vision, stronger in your spirit. And one day, someone will try to thank her for breaking you, because they'll see what it turned you into. But the truth is, you built this version of you, not in spite of the betrayal, but through it. Every man has a choice. Let betrayal break you or let it birth you. Choose the second path, choose the fire, choose the rebuild. Because the man who walks through betrayal with honor, who sharpens his mind, rebuilds his name, and restores his presence, he becomes a man that nothing can destroy. Comment below. I rise from pain with purpose.